Good day, friends. You're welcome to Football 360GH. It's been a long time doing this with you. Happy to have joined you on this episode. Today, we talk Kumasi Asante Kotoko and matters arising. On 28th May 2020, after Dr. Kwame has served as executive chairman of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, having run it solely from his own management, the patron and then owner of the club, His Royal Majesty Otunfo via letter from his chief of staff, Mr. Kofi appointed Dr. Kwame as board chairman of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Not only was he named, Dr. Kwame was given 9 board members to help him steer the affairs of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. This board, which included Dr. Kofi Abban, if I could remember some names, Alhaji Lamin, Mrs. Evelyn Siansari, a host of other names, right? And then they went on to name Nana Amponsa as chief executive officer, who would bring in young, energetic, vibrant young men and lady, then Tam Wabin, and then to help steer the affairs of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. It was relatively successful. I don't want to sound controversial, but then they won the Ghana Premier League after such a long time with Prosper Nati Ogum Doctor, and so you'd want to give them that scorecard as having served well. 3 years into that reign, the owner of the club truncated the reign of the board led by Dr. Kwame. Before that, there had been a series of altercations, series of power play, leading to a not so successful reign of that board. Because if you bring people, successful businessmen and lady from different sectors, different industries, to come together and run a club like Kumasi Asante Kotoko, what we do all expect is to see a level of success that the club hasn't enjoyed. A level of success the club hasn't enjoyed in previous management, but then we saw a complete opposite of that because so much power play, people trying to match up egos, match up financial muscles, and show that they are the richest or whatever on the board, and so we didn't get to see the benefit of having pulled together these resourceful men and lady to come together and think for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And so in 2023, 22nd July 2023, the club announced an appointment of an IMC. I want us to start from the IMC. I needed to give you a prelude to what led to the appointment of the IMC, because in a month or two, there will be no IMC. Stay with me. On 22nd July 2023, letter with Mr. Kofi, Chief of Staff to Menshia Palace, signature underneath, named Nana Kwasi Aprinkra Kontompunia Ferrihe as the new IMC chairman of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Also part of the IMC was Katachie James Maele Kosiapia, former coach of Black Stars, current coach of Sudan national team. Prosper Nati Ogum Doctor, who was then the head coach of Kotoko's part, former management member of Nana Amponsa's S1 administration, Newton Emmanuel Dasoberi, also formerly of GFA, was also part. This was the team that was presented on to us. Now, like the name IMC, Interim Management Committee, we expected the IMC to have worked in the space of 90 days to 180 days, laid the grounds for a proper administration running of the club by ushering in a new board, a new management who would come in and run a club, administrative-wise, like a modern club would expect. But then days turned to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, and now the IMC, which was supposed to leave after 3 to 6 months, have chalked 32 months. In 4 months, the IMC will be 3 years. Quite surprising. I don't know whether I should still call them IMC or a PMC. a permanent management committee, but then they are still being referred to as IMC. So let me follow the convention. Now, the IMC came in nearly 3 years ago. Kotoko hasn't found success both on and off the field. There has been a series of sacking of players, change in technical direction, establishment of the youth setup, who have been so strong and then competitive. But then the main team hasn't enjoyed that much of success that we all wanted the IMC to have. For an IMC or administration that has had a peaceful reign, devoid of insults, devoid of radio lambast, devoid of so much noise, for a club like Kumasi Asante Kotoko, we had expected some level of competitiveness, some level of competitive laurels being chopped, some level of achievement being amassed. But then so far in 32 months, we are yet to see that. 2 meetings have been held after the sacking of Coach Karimzito. Now, prior to that Kotoko Ediana game, Nana Kwabena Yeboah made it known in that video when he visited the team that a lot is going to be dependent on the next 2 games. Namely, Ediana in the FA Cup, Hasselhoff in the Premier League. Kotoko went on to draw against Ediana, go on to the penalties and lose, and be kicked out of the FTN FA Cup. And the following week, they lost to Accra Hasselhoff. After that defeat to Ediana, we are told that Coach Karimzito has resigned from his position. In comes assistant coach Prince Owusu, who sat on the bench and then saw that defeat to Hasselhoff. The team has gone through changes in technical direction. Obviously, there is going to be changes in players at the end of the season. If I'm not going to be uncharitable, in all magnanimity, I would say the IMC has signed more than 80 players in their 32 months at Kotoko. And so it beggars belief where the direction lies in terms of recruitment, in terms of technical and sporting direction of the club, and what their plans and targets are in the next shortest period of time. 2 meetings have been held. We know the life patron, club owner, Otumfo Seitutu, is out of town. And so if every meeting is to be called, it's going to be led by the chief of staff. The IMC chairman has been told that they cannot continue. The club must go the modern way. And so there should be a way to bring in a new board of director who will come with the board members, and they will form a management team to see to the day-to-day affairs of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. What can mean? Now, the IMC chairman, Nana Kwabena Yeboah, has been made known to go and prepare his handing over note and present it on the instance that the king arrives in the country. And so there is not going to be any meeting between the chief of staff and the IMC till the king arrives. Now, when the king comes, the IMC chairman would have to present a handing over note to the king. A meeting will be formed. The new board of director, the new chairman of the board that is going to be ushered in, will be introduced to the IMC. The IMC will be introduced to that board and its chairman. There will be that transition. Then Kotoko will be transferred into a new reign of administrative ownership. So Nana Kwabena Yeboah's IMC will see to it that this league season that we are playing will be to a successful end. A new board will come. So who are those who are going to be on this board? Mind you, in this same video before I started, I give you a prelude how Dr. Kwame Chains and his board came. That was 2020, 28th May. 6 years later, some members on that Dr. Kwame Chains board find themselves in the new board that Kumasi Asante Kotoko is going to set up. Dr. Kofi and Abban, who was part of Dr. Kwame Chains board, is likely to be the board chairman. Joe Shop was part of that board. He's so likely to be on the board. And then key amongst them is sports presenter, broadcaster, SWAC president, Mr. Kwabena Yeboah. The board is not supposed to go beyond 7 members. It's hovering around 5 to 7. Mind you, a board must have an odd number so that there can be a decision taken. Mind you, that committee board had 9 members plus the chairman 10, and so it was very difficult finding an agreement unless, of course, you take voting right from the chairman. They wouldn't want to repeat that same mistake, and so this board is going to be 5 or 7, either of the two, so that taking decision will amount to a clear-cut favorite or a clear-cut winner. So Kotoko's new administration of running is going to be transferred from the IMC led by Nana Kwasi Appinkura to a board being led by Dr. Kofi Abban. We hope to see what changes that will come with that new members of board, and we hope that there is not going to be so much of ego at play, pride at play, and then robbing of financial muscles at meeting, leading to the team's failure on the field of play. But rather, pray that the team continue to enjoy success on and off the field, so that the dying spirit among the playing body, among the technical team, among the fans, the teaming fans, will be revitalized and resuscitated, so that the team will see the best of days. Again, we are told that the king is so much keen on youth football. You can have your 28-year-olds, 30-year-olds playing the league, win you FA Cup, win you President's Cup. But if you want to run a profitable football club in Ghana, your youth setup must be strong. These days, Division 2, Division 3 clubs are those who are chalking successes on the field of play in terms of player recruitment and player sales. They are sending the players outside. The best Ghanaian traditional clubs can do is to ship their players to Libya, Egypt, Morocco, Tanzania, taking $50,000, $150,000. And these same players will return after 3 or 6 months because they couldn't match up to the expectations there. To be able to amass highly lucrative amount of money from player sales, you should be able to pay attention to your setup. And so any board that's coming in should pay attention to the young porcupines. On that note, let me chip it in that Bernard Somuah, who 2 years ago was nearly kicked out of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. 2 years ago, Bernard Somuah was nearly kicked out. Nearly kicked out. Then he was given the chance to stay. Then he got that opportunity to go on loan to Celta Vigo. Last year, it was renewed, so he went on a second loan to Celta Vigo. Yesterday, Celta Vigo officially announced that they have captured Bernard Somuah on a 4-year deal until June 2030 as their new permanent signing. People have started questioning on how much Kumasi Asante Kotoko is going to get. What is important is that Bernard Somuah had his youthful setup and training with Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And so any transfer that involves Bernard Somuah, Kumasi Asante Kotoko is going to get a percentage in that transfer. And so Kotoko is going to enjoy from the transfer of Bernard Somuah in perpetuity. Any transfer that is going to be made on him, they are going to get their share for player development and facility training and all those stuff. But then I can confirm to you that Kumasi Asante Kotoko is not getting less than 500,000 euros from the sale of Bernard Somuah. 2 decades ago, Ghanaian clubs, especially Kumasi Asante Kotoko, were selling players 1 million euro, 1.5 million euro. But a decade in, I can't recall Kumasi Asante Kotoko selling a player for even $300,000. We've heard of the transfer of Albert Amua and how it took such a long time with a lot of legal references and legal tussles to even get early to make payments of their transfer. It tells you that if you're able to commit all your resources, all your strength, all your abilities to your youth setup and your players that are age 17 to 20 and get them the best of facilities and training, you are going to get lucrative amount of money to run your club. So Bernard Somuah has been transferred permanently to Celta Vigo, and Kotoko is going to enjoy from his transfer in perpetuity, even as the amount not less than 500,000 euros from his transfer. This has been our stories for you on Football 360 GH. on the transition of the IMC to the new board of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and the attention that the club owner and life patron is urging the new board and whosoever that will take over the Kumasi Asante Kotoko administrative running to pay attention to the young porcupine and the youth setup of the team, as they are the cash cow, the breath, and the blood to keep the hopes of the team running, alive, and kicking. Thank you for doing this with me. I don't take your audience for granted. I'll continue to implore and urge you to like, to share, to subscribe to become a part of the Football 3CGH family, even as we continue to roll on this journey. Thank you, and see you in our next bulletin. Bye-bye. 再见。